G'day there folks, I'm Beanie, you're watching Beanie Draws, and just a heads up, if heavy sensitive topics aren't necessarily your thing, or you're a parent that doesn't really want your kids listening to heavy topics like life and death, then maybe this isn't the video for them. But we have a blank page. Much like what the future can be like sometimes, rather blank, you never know what's going to happen. That's kind of what I'm going to be covering in this video as I suppose we'll draw a dinosaur killing a cancer cell, because it's that time of the year. And by that time of the year, I mean it's Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, apparently, which also coincidentally happens to be what my mother passed away from, so there's that. Also, I have a viewer who also is on Instagram who apparently, not the same kind of cancer, but their mother is apparently, how's the best way to talk about it? Because it's a tricky topic as I try and draw a dinosaur eating a cancer cell. Because when you're in stage 4, or you know, in what do they call that stage of hospital where you won't be getting better? I really don't like using the word dying, because that's so bleak, but sometimes that is life. But also with art, we can deal with the bleak and make it maybe not so bleak. And yeah, because I think it was like last week, time is an interesting construct, isn't it? So yeah, it was like last week was the 3rd year anniversary, I believe, of my mother passing away from ovarian cancer. But that also happens to be the week after Mother's Day, which also happens to be the week after my grandmother passing away, which, yeah, well, I mean, you know, that's life. We had a very good, long relationship. I mean, how many people have, you know, had the luxury and privilege, or even honor, of having known your grandmother? Some, like, I wasn't even born when my mother's mother passed away. Sadly ironic also from cancer. And that was what my mum was always paranoid about, dying from cancer, and that's what took her. So there's that. This is, like I said, I was basically warning that this video is going to be a heavy one. So I guess this is also me practicing getting back into drawing, because I haven't drawn in a little while. Kind of wanted to, but just evidently didn't get in the mood to drawing, so I didn't. Which kind of goes against one of my plans that I was going to talk about in another video on how to get back into drawing. I did do a shorts video on that, which was kind of a short, quick, funny one, which is also true. The only way to get back into drawing is to draw. That really is the only way. This video, ironically, this video is kind of like this other video I recorded where I was recording my train of thought and then the whole audio did not work. But I can see my audio waveform, so I can tell that it's actually recording this time. Does that seem like I am avoiding a topic? Which I guess also, if you are a parent and you are cool with your kids listening in on the topic of, you know, life, passing away, how to get on with life once someone's passed away, let's just hope they don't have to deal with that kind of stuff too early on, because yeah, it's never fun. That's something that one of my viewers is dealing with. Don't know if I actually talked about it in this recording or the other recording that didn't quite work out so well. But I have an Instagram follower. It's super_Gojira. So he's his mother has been dealing with cancer as well. Apparently not going to, how do I put it? They're enjoying their time that they got left. Trying to, anyway. Because, I mean, I tell you what, they say enjoy the time that you have with the person when you know they're not going to be here for much longer, but there's not an awful much enjoying that gets done. It's, I don't know what other people like that have lost a parent to cancer, or anyone for that matter. But those last moments, they stay with you. They, yeah. This is, I guess, another reason why I kind of wanted to record something like this was that I want people to, I mean, okay, when I knew that my mother wasn't going to make it, I was wondering, what's it going to be like? Because, you know, no one knows what it's like to lose a parent until you've lost a parent. So I'm just like, you know, what's it like? It's kind of hard to know what it's like, and everyone's different. But yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to make a talking video about life and the things you go through, especially on Mother's Day and similar events. As I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to draw is this going to be a dark or slightly comedic? No, you can't make it comedic. I don't even know how I'm going to draw this one. It just is, it's more like a tentacle really, but you know, it's not fun. Cancer is not fun, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm going to be like this a little bit for this video, because my brain gets very, very scattered, especially when trying to talk about life subjects. It's one of those things where, like, you know, dealing with grief, dealing with loss, and dealing with, you know, people passing away, it's a very personal, private kind of thing. Why then am I doing a whole recording where I'm talking about it? I mean, isn't that what a therapist is for? Yes, that is what a therapist is for, to a degree, but there's not a whole lot of videos out there. I mean, I for sure wasn't in the mood for watching, still not in the mood for watching those kind of videos about, you know, someone's experiences with losing someone to cancer. So I'm, you know, not exactly sure who's going to be watching this one. Again, it's a heavy topic, but I want to sort of bring awareness is a better term. I want to bring awareness to something that isn't talked about very often. Because this video isn't going to get monetized because it deals with sensitive topics and, you know, you don't want to really profit from cancer, I will try to remember to put some links for cancer awareness, ovarian cancer awareness organizations. But yeah, so my friend, he's losing his mother. The lead up totally stinks, because you know what's about to happen. There's no stopping it. You know, when you get to that point, there is no stopping it. It's an inevitability, unfortunately. And all you can do is try to mentally prepare and brace yourself for what's going to come. But I will warn you that what will come is years and years and years of reliving back memories. Obviously, you want to focus on the good ones, but not all of them are going to be good. Some of them will scar your brain, and it is not fun. So that's why it's, it's a very heavy topic, but, life is heavy sometimes. Life is very heavy. This is me trying to think of how I'm going to talk about the topic while I'm trying to make this look like something. Heavy life topics, eh? Do I want the T-Rex to be... I think the foot will go in there. The reason why I'm drawing a T-Rex... battling a cancer cell. I did actually draw something like this for the first anniversary of, I was like in a really bad mood, so I figured I'd draw something, because drawing something can distract you from those feels and those moods that I was just feeling just before. That there's how I've been dealing with things is you don't dwell too much on it. Easier said than done. Because if you dwell on an emotion, it will eat you up, and that benefits no one. It doesn't bring anyone back. It doesn't change anything. Doesn't make anything better in the world. It just leaves negativity, and there's no point being negative because it doesn't change anything. Well, I mean, it does change things sometimes, not for the better, but such is life. But yeah, so I made a video not last year, pandemic was last year. I made a video a couple of years ago of a Spinosaurus. I think it was a T-Rex. It was a T-Rex biting a cancer cell and, ripping it apart. And a couple of, I would say about a month or two ago, Super Gojira informed me that his mother was passing away from cancer soon. Hopefully it's going to be, it's kind of hard to really say hopefully, because watching someone deteriorate is not fun, and that is basically what happens with anyone in life, So I just hope that it is as stressless and painless as possible. Who knows though, because that's life. So he asked me if I could bring some awareness to his Dinosaurs vs. Cancer. I mean, it's taken me at the time of recording this, it's taken me 15 minutes to get to the point. But yeah, it might be difficult for him to listen to this. It was difficult for me to listen to talking about passing aways, talking about the journey of the lead up to. That's very tough. So I would personally, I'd advise him not to listen to this, because it's going to be tough. Well, might help in dealing with that kind of stuff. But his mother was, I think it was his mother said something about like doing Dinosaurs versus Cancer, or maybe that was his idea. Either way, he was asking me if I could use the hashtag Dinosaurs versus Cancer as a way to talk about the topic, and he said that it was fine for me to talk about this, because it's a very, 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 very personal, tough thing to talk about. So I wanted to make sure that he was okay with me talking about it. And yeah, he was like saying his name's Daniel. He said, Daniel's my name, drawing dinos is my game. And he said he always does Dinos versus Cancer since it's his fear of being beaten by it. He also was dealing with it himself, which is another tough pill to swallow sometimes, is when you see, that's the other thing. I've just like him probably, like I have the fear of going through it. My mum had the fear of going through it long before she ever got the diagnosis. She had the fear of it because she saw her mum go through it. I mean, heck, my grandmother, she lost her parents to cancer, and yeah, that was always a tough one as well. Let's just say because my grandmother passed away recently as well, like a couple of weeks ago, I will say that the way she lived life and her attitude towards life and her attitude towards other people is what I try to strive for in the future. It's what I've always kind of strived for anyway, treating people the way I want to be treated, and being, trying to be strong, trying to lead a good example. So, I mean, my grandmother, I think she was like, 97? So she definitely had a good innings. And I had the, I guess, privilege. I don't know. Words have never been my strong suit, which is why I'm making a whole video on talking. So, luckily with her, like, I last saw her for Easter, and then she passed away like the week later. I think it was a week later. But yeah, like, you know, she was older and frailer, but she recognized me. She knew who I was, and we had a nice little just talk about, you know, stuff and things, you know, just basically smiling. That was basically all I was really smiling, because it's kind of hard to know really what to talk about after a while. Because some things you don't, you know, we already know what life's like. You don't need to dwell on life. Just smile. Even if the smile isn't necessarily a real smile. Even if you're faking the smile a little bit. You know, fake it till you make it, as they say. But yeah, we smiled. We laughed. The neighbour, her, in the nursing home, the other lady, she was a very sweary lady. Swearing in another language, but I knew what she was saying. And that's what we were kind of laughing about. You know, I guess that's all you can really do, really, is laugh at life. When it throws you lemons, you just laugh at them. And then they hit you in the face and you go, ow. But then you laugh and go, I got hit in the head with a lemon. But yeah, so there's that. But yeah, with her, you know, I got to enjoy their last moments. I didn't know they were going to be the last moments. But, you know, I'm kind of grateful for that, really. I'm grateful that the last moments with my grandmother that I had, you know, they weren't pain. They weren't painful. They were, you know, happy enough. Just regular everyday life, really. I really wish I could say the same about the last moments with my mum, but that's life. And I'm not going to go into the details of that one, because that's, you know, I'm sure there's documentaries and that. You can watch that if you're that interested. Don't know why you would be that interested, but hey. But yeah, basically, the lead up to is one of those things that you don't need to talk about. You just prepare. And such is life. I will say though, because I couldn't really understand much of what my mum was saying, I will just basically hold on to the last things I remember her saying that made sense, which was, are you going to draw me an owl? So that's why at some point I'm going to draw an owl. And my grandmother was like, loved my bird drawings as well. I don't think I've actually drawn any birds on this channel. Technically I have. Dinosaurs are technically non-avian birds. But yeah, so I kind of do want to draw some birds. Let me know in the comments below if you've even got this far, and if you have got this far, say yes, draw some birds. That would be interesting, because like I like the bird's feet and that, I like how feathers look. And both my mum and my grandmother loved my bird drawings, so it'd be a nice way to, you know, do something nice for their memory. But yeah, that's here's a quick drawing lesson though. I want to get back to here. My hand's going to be covering here. That gets in the way of drawing, so maybe I'll have to put my hand like this now. But yeah, so I wanted to do something for Mother's Day. Evidently, I didn't do anything for Mother's Day because Mother's Day was a tough one. Yeah, so losing my grandmother a week before Mother's Day, and my mother's passing was the week after Mother's Day. I kind of wanted to do something for Mother's Day that's basically this. It's talking about life, not necessarily all the happy stuff, because, you know, I wasn't feeling very happy. And you can probably hear in my voice that I'm not in the best of moods, but I kind of wanted to just draw something. Get it done. Do something kind of productive, you know? Turn a bad situation into something that can make you visually smile. I mean, like, obviously this is a tough topic to talk about, but If you don't want to listen to it, you can always watch it in mute. I mean, heck, if you don't even speak English, you're probably really lucky right now, because, you know, you don't have to deal with all the emotions. You just watch a dinosaur eating away at a very nasty organism. That's one of the weird things about, like, cancer and just anything that's like part of a biological thing that ends your life or harms you or brings pain. Like, why does the body create these things? I guess, you know, you could say that modern days processed foods and chemicals in the water and the chemicals in the air or whatnot can have something to do with it. Who knows? I'm not a scientist, because I'm drawing non-scientifically accurate dinosaurs. But, you know, it's just one of those things where you're like, there's not much you can really do or say about it, so you're just like, it's hard to understand why the body does what it does. And why these nasty little cancer cells just decide to pop up out of nowhere. With ovarian cancer, there's supposedly, like, the only way my mum knew about the ovarian cancer was because she was bloating, and she got an operation for that. And oh, by the way, this. So there was no. I think that's also what Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month is about. It's like bringing awareness to the point that there's very little symptoms and signs. And that's kind of like with it, like a lot of things, right? There's very few signs to know if something's wrong. So if something's wrong, I guess you just gotta go see a doctor and tackle it before it gets worse. I've smudged a lot over there. Kind of want to do some mixed ink with this. And it's going to be interesting to see who actually watches this and how much of this you watch. So I wanted to talk about, you know, Mother's Day, the toughness of what it's like, you know. Not all mothers have a happy Mother's Day. There's lots of life that isn't necessarily easy. So, you know, if you've had a Mother's Day, you know, and everyone's healthy and happy, latch on to that, you know, enjoy it, because one day Mother's Day might not be like that for you. So just enjoy every moment of positivity that you can. That was basically what I was gonna say. I'd kind of scripted something that I wanted to do for Mother's Day, you know, remembering Mum, and kind of bringing awareness to what it's like losing a parent to cancer, or just losing a parent in general, because then your life entirely changes. Things are never the same again after that. Also, I'm using these Faber-Castell. Also got a ring light. Can you see my little ring light up there? We could do something with this, because we're kind of at an inking stage now. Although I kind of want to try and do some old school ballpoint pen, Bic ballpoint pen. I haven't drawn with one of these in a very long time. Why not? Hey, the ink actually comes out right away. That's a cool sign. So yeah, it's just like, as selfish as it sounds, with cancer awareness, it's not just the patient that deals with it. Because, I mean, if you or someone that you know has cancer, with any luck, they, you know, it's not a death sentence. I know personally people who have had cancer and they are still with us and they're in remission. They've been in remission for a long time, so it's not a death sentence. But for the unlucky ones, the journey doesn't necessarily end once someone has passed away. Like, the battle ends, the journey, once life ends for the person that they cease to be a part of this, you know, part of the living world, whatever you believe in. That doesn't change for you though. Life continues. And that's kind of what I wanted to call this video, or something related to this video. is that life doesn't end when life ends. Life continues. The world continues to spin. The world continues to rotate. Other people, continue their day-to-day lives. People go to work. People go for walks. People are visiting their own, maybe sick loved ones. And some people just don't have to worry about that. That's also part of life. Life continues when someone that you love passes away. And that is kind of what this video is for me, is just accepting the fact that life continues. You can't just wallow in sadness and depression for the rest of your life. That does nothing, just negative energy. Don't really need that in your life. If you're going through that kind of stuff, that's probably something that you need to talk to a therapist about. But for me, I just trying my best to understand that life goes on. How ironic is that, really? Life finds a way. Sometimes it doesn't, but you have to find a way to continue going on. I'm going to try it with this ink pen instead. Maybe. Or it could just be one of those artworks where I do a multiple of different inking methods. But yeah, life continues. The world continues to spin. Elections keep going. Let's not make too many demonetizable statements. But countries continue to find ways to get along, hopefully. Some don't, and hopefully they could, because that's the other thing, with that kind of stuff as well, that affects so many innocent people, and they have to deal with all this kind of stuff as well, and they have to find their own life continues on, and life, life doesn't end when life ends. You continue on. It's not easy sometimes, but there's no other choice, really. It's it's either continue or stay in bed, I guess. Which, that's a talk about mental health, which, that's a tough one. And if you're going through that kind of stuff and you can't get out of bed, I know, I've been there. That's when you really should seek a doctor or, professional, or at least talk to somebody. Heck, that isn't what this is about. I've found my ways of dealing with things. I like to hopefully think in a positive way. Do the main line work for this first. And then we'll come in and get some details in. But yeah, what was I saying? Life continues on here. So yeah, I've taken 6-month long breaks on this channel because of life, depression and all that stuff, that the heavy topics that I was whining about. Yeah, when it comes to drawing though, depression definitely gets in the way of drawing. Sometimes you're just not in the mood to draw. Heck, I wanted to draw this. I wanted to put ink and pen to paper. I wanted to get something done, but it took me about 4 or 5 hours just to finally go, alright, you know what? I want to talk about heavy topics because, this is my truth, as the people online say these days. This is my truth. This is my talk. This is my TED Talk, as it were. In my ramblings, this is probably a better video than what I scripted, because this is just straight from my brain. It's not making the most of sense all the time. But for those of you who have stuck around on this channel for this long, you know that you know what to expect. You don't come here for coherent explanations. You come here to see cool things. Hopefully this is a cool dinosaur. So I don't want to dwell on the negative topics. That's why I talk about it every now and then on this channel, but I also don't want to make my channel all about that, because I mean, when I was going through realizing that, you know, people weren't going to be in my life much longer, you know, I didn't want to think about it. So I came to YouTube, I came to Twitch, and I watched other people creating stuff because I didn't want to think about it. So I guess this video is not that for you. This is maybe just if you want to listen to live chat. Maybe this is essentially my version of a live stream without being live, because I wasn't in the mood to live stream this. Haven't been, like, I want to live stream, but just haven't really been in the mood to live stream yet. It'll come, just not yet. Ironically, there's going to be some people in the comments, there'll be one or two that haven't, you know, really watched or listened to the point of this video, and they'll be like, can you make a tutorial on this? Although, I guess, technically speaking, if this is a long video, is that a tutorial? Because, you know, there's no speed drawing here, this is just straight up talking. I'm not talking about what I'm doing, but you can watch what I'm doing, and then you can learn something. But this is more about learning about life. So, and also learning to see if this microphone stands up, holds up. This is a $40 microphone that I got from Kmart. Supposedly Kmart used to exist, still exists, I don't know. Kmart is apparently in America as well. I don't know much about American things. I'm Australian, as you can probably tell. If you don't know, I am Australian. But yeah, so I think I mentioned this in my other recording that didn't start off very well, so I just re-recorded this. I didn't really know how to start this video. It's kind of hard to know how to start a video on such a heavy topic. As I ink away, I also gotta remember not to talk when I could be editing stuff out, but I'm not a good editor, so whatever. But yeah, now you can kind of see my little ink work. Some things to learn about other than life. And in a way, like, this kind of inking that I do is kind of like a meditation. Focusing on the details. The more I focus on each stroke of the pen is not living in the past. Remember the past. Try not to live in it though. When I'm doing all these, look how good that looks on this. It looks good on my screen. So that's what I enjoy doing, like looking at, oh, with my glasses though, because I now wear glasses so I can actually see this detail better. Yeah, it's cool being able to see all this little tiny little bits of detail as I just go randomly on tangents. It's just kind of like my meditation. I can zone the world out, which is going to be what the next stage of my journey on the YouTube and all that's going to be. Just creating so I can zone the world out, you know. I don't like being depressed. Depressed isn't fun. So my way of getting out of that is just to draw something. Just drawing something, trying to get out of that world. Sometimes you kind of do get stuck in that world though. When you're drawing, sometimes your thoughts can race off into another world, and then you're like, oh darn, now I am sad again. And that was not the intention of the plan of drawing. The plan of drawing is to feel better. But you know, sometimes you just don't feel good, and sometimes it's, you know, you have to accept it. You don't have to necessarily live with it, but sometimes we feel like crud, and that is okay. And when I say that it's okay, I just say that it's a valid feeling. Because, you know, as I'm trying to also think, how do I want this to be rendered? This is kind of how, obviously this is how I render. I was going to say this is kind of how I render with a ink pen, but obviously I have done it. This is how I do it. Speaking of artists and arting, there's a Twitch streamer. She goes by the name of Cryomera. She is a amazing ink artist. She uses a when I say a nib pen, not one of these. It's like a still nib, you know, the old writing pens. She uses that, and I really want to do a video of just me drawing, experimenting, and using a nib pen. I think that could be cool to watch, because I love just watching how lines show up. I mean, this is not going to be good for audience retention, but I mean, I don't think talking about cancer and death is a hard, heavy word. Let's go with passing away. The inevitabilities of life. What was I just talking about? You know, I was talking about Cryomera. And that she live streams with ink. Like, oh, that's right. I wanted to do a live stream of me just experimenting with an ink nib pen, because I love looking at the detail. I am a very detail-oriented person, as you can probably tell. I love rendering. You know, not everything in this video needs to be glib. I think we've mostly talked about the heavy stuff now. Just wanted to get those feelings out, talk about, you know, because there will be other people, obviously. Super Godzilla, the Instagram user, is one of them, where we all, somewhere or another, experience loss or have to deal with the tougher sides of life. Luckily for us, though, and if you're the kind of person who draws, luckily for you, because I know some of you don't draw, some of you just like watching me draw. That's cool. Luckily for us who do draw, though, is that if we are stuck in a world that we don't want to be in, we can escape and create our own worlds. We can make our own art and escape the realities of life. Because, I mean, what else are you going to do? Just watch TV? I mean, there are other ways, but I wouldn't recommend them because they're not good. I mean, obviously I wanted to talk about tough subjects, but I don't want to talk about the super tough. So everyone deals with things differently. You know, I'm not going to tell you how to deal with your own life and how to deal with tough stuff, but, you know, there are options and ways to manage emotions. I manage it with drawing, occasionally talking, but mostly just drawing. And yeah, the fact that life isn't always easy or fun for people. Sometimes things get tough. Especially for those of us who are left behind, you know, like you're left behind with your memories and having to just live on with the fact that this person that you've had in your life for years, decades even, no longer part of your life. We are not the first, and we will not be the last. The Earth has been around for thousands of years, millions of years, depending on what your beliefs are. Yeah, the world has been around for a long time. It continues to spin. People come and go. People enter the world. People leave the world. That is just the way life is. And that has basically been my way of accepting, understanding, coping with it, and just going like, you know what? Hoping and wishing and dwelling doesn't bring anyone back. Nothing can bring people back. Actually, the only thing that can bring someone back is dreams. Memories are, you know, one thing, but I've had a lot of dreams about, you know, situations in life. And yeah, that very convincing ways to revisit people that have passed is to have a dream about them. Obviously, not everyone can control their dreams, so, you know, and some people, you know, some dreams are nightmares, but, you know, take it for what it is. If you can't control something, take it for what it is. I wonder how long this video is going to be. Because I could draw this for hours. Maybe some of this part can be a time lapse now. Well, so that we don't have anything too sad furthering on, I don't know if so Super Godjira, Daniel on Instagram, yeah, like he likes drawing dinosaurs, obviously. That's, when it comes to artists, that tends to be one of the linking things with me and a lot of artists out there. We like dinosaurs. But he also wanted to do, like, you know, Dinosaurs versus Cancer to bring awareness to the battle. And, you know, bringing awareness and light. You might not ever get touched by the story of cancer, but you might. And he wanted to do, you know, pass on that message for his mother, so he, you know, his mother can be proud of him. I want to continue stuff on so that, you know, my mother up there can be proud of my drawings. And continuing on the message too, because my mum wanted to, like, you know, she wanted to keep fighting for those. She wanted to find, you know, a cure, treatments for those already going through it. So this is continuing on that legacy as well. Continuing the fight. I mean, I'm kind of paranoid that one day I will get something like this journey. And if that happens, so be it. But if that happens, I have this art to live on and to continue continue the journey, continue the story, continuing the message. But yeah, legacy, living, continuing on a life for those who have passed, living a good life, doing the best that you can, trying to live a life that they would be happy and proud of. Because, you know, our loved ones wouldn't want us to be sad. Understandably, sadness is a part of life, but, you know, they'd want us to continue on living a full life, especially our mothers. You know, they gave life to us. They wouldn't want us to be, you know, sad, and the whole part of life is supposedly to be happy. So try to be happy. Try to bring happiness to others. There's a channel, a friend of mine from the UK is the Urban Explorer, Van Life. Maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but I particularly like the idea of van life. It's a very cool thing, and I like his motto of live a life that will be remembered. His motto is to, you know, you only have one life, might as well enjoy it, get out there, have fun, make memories, and this is my way of making memories. Or at least making something that people can enjoy when they're feeling maybe lonely or a bit, you can just zone out. Maybe put this on mute. This video anyway, because this video is a bit heavy, but, you know, zone out and just enjoy some art. I put way too much detail into this. I tend to do that. I'll have to put in, I'm sure he won't mind. I think I asked him if I can, you know, share his stuff. Him being Super Godjira. Gotta try and remember to put some of his art in this video too, to share. Get his, hopefully we can get him a few followers, eh? Give him a follow. Enjoy his art. Be kind. You know, send some love his way. And I will say also, that's just popped into my brain, under the topic of dealing with and coping with, I personally, and this is just me, I appreciate all like the, you know, the well wishes and the I'm sorry for your loss kind of stuff. I appreciate that. I will say, I don't know what's like for others, but it can be tough though. You know, it's obviously, it's hard to know what to say to people, you know, when they're going through something like that. I personally like the idea of not dwelling on it too much. Sympathies, you know, sorry for your loss, but I don't like to dwell on it. Because, again, dwelling doesn't change much. Dwelling just makes you sad. That's why one of these videos I did in the past, I think it was like a video for my mum. I was contemplating turning the comments off on that one, mostly just because, like, that part of life has finished. I don't want to keep, you know, remembering the whole sorry for your loss kind of thing, because it's just like a constant reminder of what happened. I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want to live that part of life anymore. I want to continue on. I want to get on with the next stage of life, which is what I'm doing right now. What you're watching right now is me drawing. So, you know, it's kind of hard to know what to say really and that kind of stuff, but while this video is entirely dedicated to the tough parts of life and, you know, loss, at the end of the day I try not to dwell on too much. It's kind of hard to know what to say now. Yeah, basically the world keeps spinning. Try and make someone smile. The Urban Explorer is very good at doing that for me. Try to make someone smile. That's basically all you can do, really. And if you can make someone smile, boom, you have power. You have power to change someone's day for the positive. I like to hope that my art changes your day for the positive as well. Yeah, that's basically the point of this video. I've still got a whole bunch more to draw now. Suppose the rest of this can be... What I should do, actually, is just to be sure, I'm going to stop recording. And let's try and get this finished now, eh? We've said what we've wanted to say. It's now time to get these creatures finished. Okay, let's finish off this naughty creature. Let's use a thicker ink. Oh, maybe this one's dried out a bit, so it's not going to be as thick as I thought. Let's see what we can get done. So, a bit of learning for this little part. What I am trying to do, this is rough, not rough, it's very intentional actually. While my hands are in the way, it's not going to help much, but this is me blocking in. I'm going with a very impressionistic style. Impressionistic, for those of you who do not know much art terms, or you're just starting out learning art, Impressionism is not necessarily getting your detail. Impressionism is getting the impression of something. So a block of, you know, flat colors gives you a shadow, a squiggle here and there, like all these squiggles, they're an impression of form. Form is what everything is created from, using a whole bunch of different forms and shapes to create a physical thing, and then I just use different directional lines and occasionally a smattering of color here and there to color in some shadow to add in the impression of shapes. And it generally makes things a lot faster too, especially if you want to try and get something done quickly, because this whole drawing hasn't been fully about detail. This drawing has been about finding a good medium to discuss life without being too sad. Like, sadness, you know, part of life, but really just a avenue, a vehicle for dealing with things, discussing things, talking about things. That is what art is to me. It's an avenue for discussing and coping with. Sometimes I want to get my drawings done very quickly. And I know people are always going on about going, oh, you're drawing too fast. Well, yeah, it's what I do. I'm not going to slow down like this. I mean, I'll probably do realistically, this video could in itself be a good excuse also to do a quick tutorial on how to ink. Maybe I will. Maybe I will make a little bit of this video on how to ink. Okay, so we have a leg. Our leg is meant to be tubular, so I'm adding little lines in a direction that emphasizes the tubularness. I also use shadow to add in contrast, so you can see more of that arm, because that arm got hidden in some of that shadow. But I add little lines here and there to texture, and then some of those lines turn into scales. Wasn't even planning on it, but that's how it worked. Going for a sort of a greasy, oily, not fun kind of texture, so I'm just adding little clumps of black, sort of building up think of it like a comic book where, say, Venom, those kind of characters, they are made up a lot of black, some flat dark coloring. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm using a Faber-Castell Pitt pen. Could actually go with a brush style. I do like brushes. I like how quickly you can go with it too. Look at that speed. Much speed, very fast. Wow. Then you can combine a nice big lot of black right there. Let's put in a nice big lot of black in there. Kind of want this to be almost like a an octopus of sorts, a big greasy octopus. And this brush pen definitely makes blocking in that darkness a lot easier. This blocking in of darkness is, you could call it impressionism, blocking in blocks of light for the impression of shape and form, and then mix that in with a medium style of ink, and then you can add little tinier details, and that kind of helps blend, makes the getting shapes together faster. And then if you practice this long enough, you too will be drawing so fast that people will be complaining that you're drawing too fast. And isn't that the ultimate goal that we want as an artist, is to be so fast that people complain that we're going too fast? Brush pens can get the detail in as well, but very finicky, because then you put in too much pressure and then boom, you've got some darkness where you didn't want darkness. You can also tip tap. It's a very interesting style we've got going on here. We've got the pen very close to the camera right now. But hopefully that will show you that you can add these little speckles. They're very, very tiny. But you add those little tiny speckles. We call that, well, some artists call that stippling. Some call it dot rendering. Some call it stipple rendering. Just like add little dots here and there. Can add more dots. Can add little lines. Kind of depends on what kind of texture you're going for. You can go for like a splotchy style. See, splotches. You can go for like very sort of precise style. And then when we get to this thing in its mouth, the tentacle kind of thing, different pens, different brush strokes, all have different effects. Oh, I should get out a white brush pen as well. Probably shouldn't, but I kind of want to go with a grey ink as well, so I can get some sort of tones going maybe. I don't know if I should have gone with splotches for this style, but this is an experiment and an example of showing different methods of inking. And I'm showing you examples of inking through actual practical applications, not just like blocking in, you know, squares and circles, which I've seen so many people do. This is a cool way of actually showing how certain textures and certain line methods get different styles of coloring and rendering and stuff. And now I've got the pen actually flattened down a little bit, which makes those lines less dotty and more strokish. Let's add in a little bit more detail there to give you a little bit more example of different strokes and how these different strokes can add texture and detail. It's interesting, like around here, kind of going for an interesting skin texture, and I'm finding these dots and making it a sort of a, because you know this is meant to be sort of like a cancer cell thing, so we want it to look gross, and I'm just adding little blotches and lines, adding a few little blotches where it's a little bit too light, and just kind of getting an interesting texture going on. Essentially, just use your dots, sort of plan where you want them. If something is too light, add some darkness, and if you want it to stay light, just don't add little dark dots there. Let's try and speed run this. That's always the part with inking, is it takes a long time. I mean, watch some of cryomera's streams. Her inking processes easily go into like 8 hours or more. And I'm trying to get this video done in sort of quicker than that. I mean, I don't really want to upload an 8-hour long video. So we want this part to be a bulbous, gelatinous, words that I don't even know if they are actually words, goopy, gross. So I just, you know, I'm deciding where I want to add and place my thick, strong lines to color it in, and then I want to see if I want to have this little bit of shine up here. So I dither it out a little bit, making sure, you know, not too much impressionisticness, but a bit of impressionisticness. Just put a little dot in there so it's not so wide-eyed. So what I'm doing around there is that I'm just adding some little dots. Very, very quick way of drawing scales. Just a little circle there. I've got so many different ways of drawing scales in dinosaur skin. There's some cross-hatching. Wasn't even planning on cross-hatching, but there you go. Cross-hatching is always a very quick, good way of getting some rendering done when you're going with ink. Can actually do with pencil as well. I do it a lot with pencil. Okay, so we have ourselves a drawn in with pencil dinosaur foot. Not a scientifically accurate dinosaur foot, but I don't really do scientifically accurate on this channel, so if you want scientifically accurate, you'll probably find somewhere else. But I just want to quickly, this is me trying to really quickly draw in a dinosaur foot using ink. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. Probably am. If I'm going too fast, I don't have to ask in the comments. I know you'll leave a comment going, you're going too fast. So my goal as an artist, and you know, a lot of artists, they want to get their work done quick. So the ultimate goal for some artists is getting their drawings done quick. And my goal is just using random little dots and lines to try and get this foot done as quickly as possible. Which is why I figured let's just do a quick little video just on drawing the foot as quickly as we can. I'm not going to explain anything. Just showing the different, going in and out of focus all the time. So just showing you all the different, you can observe what lines I'm using and apply them to your own drawings. And I know that there are there's already, my channel's been around for what, 6 years now. There are artists out there, including Danny the Dinosaur Drawer and Dinosaur Drawer, two different people, very similar names, but they have come a long way when it comes to drawing using ink. Similar styles as well. So yeah, eventually drawing off, and with time and patience and perseverance, because just like everything, drawing is a lifestyle hobby. It takes a long time, years even. Like, check out their channels, 6 years in. I think they've been around as long as I have. Dinosaur Drawer and Danny the Dinosaur Drawer. Makes me a little bit jealous sometimes, because I'm like, oh, your drawings are good and you're still young, so you'll probably end up being way better at drawing than me when the apprentice becomes the master, as it were. I think that's more or less done. I'm not happy with the proportions, but there's a bigger message to this drawing than getting proportions right. Hopefully you learned something from this video, but more importantly, I hope you learned to appreciate life and those around you. So yeah, some links down below for different organizations, like, you know, search for your own organizations in your local areas. And yeah, look after yourself and look after others. Remember to have a bit of fun from time to time. And before I fully go, I just wanted to say that you may hear me from time to time at the end of these videos saying cheerio for now. I know that the Urban Explorer particularly likes that. One of the big reasons why I say cheerio for now is because that's what my grandmother used to say a lot while I'd head off home or heading out for the day. She'd be like, alright, cheerio. So that's pretty much why I do it, because I used to hear her say it all the time, and that's how I say cheerio. So yeah. For her and for everyone else, cheerio for now.